In this video, I want to talk about the subject of search engine optimization, and then I'll do another video about SEO plugins in general. But the topic here really is the 800-pound elephant in the room when you're doing web design, and that is the client invariably is going to ask about SEO, search engine optimization. So the key is, what are you going to tell them? What's your response? And maybe you've got somebody you work with already. Maybe you do SEO. Whatever the case, you need to have a plan, because it can turn into a real slippery slope if you start giving them a little bit of help with SEO and then they want to know more, and maybe you don't know as much at that point, and it can get a bit tricky. So you want to know up front what you're going to say to them. Now, one of the things that you want to be talking to them about is WordPress and SEO. In fact, that's probably going to be part of your discussion when you're first pitching them on WordPress. Why use it? And one of the things we know about WordPress is that it is code friendly, certainly for SEO. It's well set up for it. It's done well in the search engines for a lot of people, even just out of the box. However, what you want to be aware of is the limitations of WordPress, so that you can give some advice at least to your clients about how to fix some of these issues. And I'll show you an example here. So if we go to the source code here, you'll see that up top here we don't actually have meta descriptions. So that's something right off the bat that needs to be addressed in WordPress. And it does have a title, obviously, but we'd also like to get some control over that title, which you don't immediately have in WordPress. It literally takes the title of the post or the page, and that's it. You'd have to actually change the title. So all those kinds of things we would like to have more control over. And WordPress does that through a couple of ways, and that is through possibly the theme, or in particular through plugins. Now, more and more themes are beginning to offer some SEO control, in particular with the title, the meta description, and so forth. And in a way that's great, because it can make it very simple for the user. I'll show you an example here. This is one of the newer breed of themes which have a lot of back-end control over things like the look of the site and so forth, but they also offer SEO to a certain extent. This is the meta box that comes up when you install Suffusion. Notice here it's got a box for the meta description. Sadly, it's quite long. Suffusion is made for a very, very wide screen, and they haven't compensated for it all the time. So you could put in your meta description here. There's also keywords, which I'm not keen on because it makes clients tend to think that meta tag keywords are crucial, when in fact they're better off using post tags for getting that kind of keyword power in search engines. These tags are much, much more useful. Anyway, that's fine. They've got meta keywords here, but they don't actually have the title in there. So that's one drawback in this particular case. Now, each theme that does this, of course, it's quite different. Fewer features, those were just the two that they offered. Fewer features does mean there's less chance of messing things up. However, the cons of using SEO features in a theme are that you have less SEO control. But the biggest one for me is, if you switch your themes, if you get rid of Suffusion, for example, there isn't that meta box anymore. So you may just lose SEO features completely if the new theme doesn't have any. And even if the new theme does have SEO features, they're probably using them in a different way. For example, the theme Atahualpa, which is a very powerful, common theme that people use, it uses particular custom field names for its SEO features. Well, you switch themes, suddenly it doesn't use those custom field names. So the information's sitting there in the database, but you can't access it with the new theme. So you end up having to redo all your SEO features, which seems a little crazy. So that's my reason for using plugins rather than SEO features. And keep in mind, by the way, if you've got a theme that has SEO features, it can be a bit confusing, because that, like, let's say you're using Suffusion plus a plugin. Well, Suffusion's got some SEO features in there, and so does the plugin, and they both have meta boxes showing up. And the client gets confused because, well, which one do I use as meta description? And it can be a little tricky that way. So that's why I recommend using SEO plugins, and that's what I'm going to cover in another video, is which plugins are good ones to use and give you some examples of how they work.